We have a very special guest in studio today. She is the owner of Adapt Performance Physio, the great and powerful Zoe Munie. Welcome to the
Hey,
show.
Welcome.
Well, yeah, you came highly recommended from past guest and friend of ours, Brian Bunfill. So I'm
he's a good guy. I like him.
yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been you kind of specialize in people who train martial arts and
Mhm.
CrossFit. And I was like, man, she's like right up our alley.
Yeah,
So
I specialize in all the people who try to break them.
yeah,
Try to break themselves. Right.
yeah. So
Oh.
how did you like? So did you always want to be a physical therapist? Is this something you wanted to do growing up, or were you like you kind of got into martial arts as a kid and you were like, okay, I could see myself. I just want to do something helping these people, or kind of how did it all start for you?
Well, I mean, honestly, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a martial artist. I wanted to open up my own school, honestly.
Really?
But yeah,
Any particular martial art in general, or
I mean, at first it was Taekwondo. That was my first one that I did. Um, Taught that actually whenever I was younger. Got really good at nunchucks and stuff like that. So I still play with them here and there. Throw them up in the air and catch them, make people go, "Ooh, that's
Yeah.
fun." Yeah. Um, but no, as I got older, I decided I didn't really want to open up my own school anymore. Um, Started doing like think what a lot of teenage girls do, and they're like, I want to be a therapist and help people out. And I actually did an internship doing research for psychology, and then I figured out I probably don't care enough to be a psychologist. Like that would be horrible.
yeah, that would.
Even though I think a lot of my patients would tell you now that I feel like a psychologist probably half the time. There's a lot of brain games that you have to do with people. But yeah, I went to my parents and I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. And my dad, he looked at me and he goes, "You have the perfect disposition for a physical therapist." I went, "What's that?" I have no idea what that is. He goes, "Well, go figure it out." So the next semester, instead of doing an
This is in
internship,
college?
no, this is
Or
high school.
high school? Okay.
Yeah, high school. That internship for psychology research was in high school. I was actually at NIH for that, which is the oh my goodness, the National Institutes of Health. So it's the research hub basically of America for science and stuff.
Where's this at?
At the time, I was in DC.
Okay.
So
Is that where you're from?
no, my dad's a military guy, or
gotcha.
he was. So we just happened to be stationed over there at the time. So yeah, instead of doing that internship, I switched gears and I found a physical therapist that would let me shadow. And that was actually my excuse to get out of school early.
Yeah.
I'm lazy
Yeah.
secretly. So, but yeah, watched them and I said, yeah, I could do this and like not hate it. Like I'd actually probably really enjoy this. There's a lot of problem solving. It's very active, like what I wanted to do. There's still that element of teaching that I really loved whenever I was doing martial arts. Um, it's very technical. So yeah, I applied for PT schools like a month later and got in. So
Wait, no, so is that something you do right out of high school? You go into PT school?
not everybody, no. So most people will do the regular bachelor's degree track. And so that's the 4 year. And then after that, they'll take their GRE and then they'll go into a 3 year program for PT school. Me, I did not want to do that much school. I've honestly, I tell everybody I'm as surprised as anything that I got as far as I did in school because I've hated it pretty much since kindergarten. So the fact I have a doctorate is just bonkers to me. Doesn't make any sense. But no, I looked at that whole process and I said, okay, what schools can I get into that is going to make it easier for me to get into PT school later? So I specifically applied to schools that had a PT program because I know that if you already go there, you're already established as a student, you're much more likely to get into their program after that. And then I saw SLU, and it was a freshman entry program. And instead of 7 years, they squish it down into 6.
Oh.
And on top of that, I didn't have to take a GRE. So I was like,
What's the GRE?
awesome. The graduate readiness exam, I think that's what it stands for.
So is that what you have to take to get into PT, I guess?
So you can think of the GRE as like another SAT that you have to take.
Okay.
It's basically just an aptitude test to say,
Sure.
can you make it in a grad school program?
Okay. So it's not like
It's-
PT specific.
yeah,
It's
no.
just you have to take it.
Yeah, it's not grad
general.
school or it's not PT specific like an MCAT for an MD. It's more of just like that postgraduate education. Are you ready for it? So they're pretty much BS, honestly.
So ACT, SAT
Yeah.
is for like undergrad. GRE
Yeah,
is
exactly.
for like graduate school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So I figure if I don't have to take another test, awesome, take my money. Like,
Yeah.
I want in.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
yeah.
So you went to SLU?
Yeah, I went to SLU all 6 years and graduated from there with the bachelor's in exercise science, minor in psychology, and then later on, 2 years later, a doctorate of physical therapy.
That's
So,
awesome.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so you grew up doing martial arts and teaching
Mhm.
martial arts, right? And then, then you obviously got into healthcare. What did martial arts teach you about like pain, healing, the human body that, you didn't really learn in school?
Honestly, I think just in general, the body awareness that I have compared to most other people comes directly from martial arts because especially in like jujitsu, I used to do that too. Um, you have to be able to contort yourself in a lot of different ways to be able to get out of different positions or maybe they're putting a lot of pressure on you in a specific spot and you have to be able to really relax there in order to kind of explode out or maneuver your way out. So whenever I'm teaching my patients how to move, I will often go back into some of those principles of how do I explain how to do this motion? Is there another way that I can explain it? What kind of tactile cues can I give them, like touching them? Is there some sort of like visualization that I can give them that makes it a little bit easier? So I do that stuff all the time. And for my own self, like if I'm not very big, leverage is awesome.
Yeah,
I use those principles all the time. And like PT school does try to teach you how to do all those things in terms of leverage and cueing. Um, but man, there's nothing quite like having somebody who really doesn't want you to do whatever you're trying to do and then still being able to leverage it anyway. And that's what martial arts gives you. Nobody wants you to win in martial arts.
Right.
Like they want to win. So it's your ability to break them versus their ability to break you. So I bring that into some of those manual techniques that I have because I'm not very big. So if I'm doing a joint mobilization on a shoulder or a hip, people are gigantic compared to me most of the time. I use that a lot. In fact, I've taught several friends and family members like how do you pick up somebody? Like how do you get somebody out of a chair if they're either really weak or they're fragile or they've been in the hospital for a long time. How do you help them out of a chair without just totally ruining your back or really trying that hard? And my favorite trick actually is to just grab your hands, put it right behind
Back of the head.
the back of the skull. And you just boop,
Just
guide
stand
them up.
behind
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they could lean back the whole time, and they'll still stand as long as they're trying to actually stand up. They'll stand.
Huh. Yeah, I do that with my kid. Get it? Because
Mhm.
I've got a 1-year-old, and if I have to I'm holding him while I'm getting the 3-year-old out of his car seat, and I'll be like, "All right, grab my head, come on." And
Yeah,
he'll like throw his arms around my head, and then I basically like pick him up out of the car seat with my
Yeah,
head
right.
and free arm. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I joked one time that one of the greatest things that martial arts taught me, jujitsu in particular, was how to change a kid's diaper.
Oh,
Just like
yeah.
you just go north south on them.
Yeah. Lift the bottom leg when they're turning.
Yeah. You just be
Yeah.
right there, stay there.
Yeah, no, I told my wife that exactly. It's so funny because she's like, he just keeps rolling. We're changing his diaper and he keeps like rolling and flipping to his belly. And I'm like, if you just lift his bottom leg, he can't.
He just can't
roll
do it,
over,
you know?
She's
just-
like, oh shit, that works.
You just put one hand here and he's stuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just pin his hips to the
Yeah.
surface you're changing his diaper on.
I
Yeah,
didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
yeah. And he can't turn over if I'm
No.
lifting the bottom. The bottom
Yeah.
leg has to
Yeah.
go under. If you lift the bottom leg, they can't roll. it was funny. Like right when we had Calvin, Kyle was like going over that particular like technique, or that like we were working on like stopping people from turtling, and yeah, like, oh, you just lift the bottom leg or you lift the bottom arm and they can't roll. They're kind of stuck there. So it's just like, oh, this works great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of fun tricks on it that you don't even realize until you go into like a different situation. You go, oh, this is fun. All right, I can do that.
Have
Yeah.
you seen those videos on social media where the wives are trying to do the fire? Like, oh, my husband the house is on fire.
Yeah.
My husband's passed
Yeah.
out. How do I get him out? And they're like,
Yeah.
lay on him and then roll him on top, and then they gotta get
Right.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep telling Gina we should do one of those videos. Let's see
Yeah.
if you can pick me up.
Try it. I should find somebody. Hey.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a little bit bigger than me,
Yeah,
so
who-
not a
who-
little bit.
I don't think that'd be a good one.
Who's willing
Yeah.
to try?
Yeah. who can pick up 260 pounds of dead weight?
Oof, that'd be tough.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
I win.
That's how you tap everybody as fat man on chest.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Try to get the knee on
Yeah.
belly as fast as I can and just sink it all in there.
You make people go,
Yep. Get the full mount, get both underhooks, and then I'm
Yeah.
just gonna just
bring
bring it into the chest. Just
Yeah.
suck in that ghee.
the
look
old
at me and go,
mother's
how
milk.
are you doing
Yeah.
down there?
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah, right.
Oh man.
Put your armpit on their face.
Yeah.
And make sure my
Yeah,
my
don't
rash
wear a
guard-
rash
no,
guard.
No rash
No
guard.
rash guard
Straight-
underneath.
No.
Straight along came Polly, just smashing
Worst.
hairy chest right to the face.
Bonus points if you smell like Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, you help a lot of combat sports athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, who tend to be particularly stubborn about injuries. What kind of, like, have you like? How do you deal with those kind of people?
So I'm not a fan of taking people out of the stuff that they like to do, which I think surprises everybody across the board, really, because as a PT, you get this kind of inherited preconception, right? Like everybody expects you to be like, oh, you hurt, do 0 things. So I don't like doing that at all. In fact, I think that if I'm saying that to you anymore, it's because you are really not tolerating anything, or we really need like some sort of tissue to settle down long enough to actually be able to do something useful.
well, coming off of surgery or something, probably.
Yeah, something like that. Like I tell a lot of people, if you had surgery, you can basically say that whatever the surgeon did is their art project, and they need the glue to dry. Just let it all set for
That's
a
a good
minute.
example.
All right.
That's a good
Good
example.
analogy.
Just chill out. Quit trying to ruin everything.
Yeah.
Like, stop it.
No.
But no, I feel like any therapist, barring, some of those circumstances, any therapist that tells you that, they're probably just not super confident in whatever they're doing to you, or they have no idea what you do. So they're just saying, you know what, hands off for everything. I don't know. So for me, it comes down to actually knowing what people do for fun or what they do for a living, because I like to do people who do trades as well, right? So some sort of physically demanding activity. So the way that you get around that is by giving them some parameters, right? So not everything is off limits. You can still do all the things that you love to do, but we're going to give you some ground rules to live by. And as long as you actually adhere to those ground rules, things are going to go great. And, in the case of like jujitsu, make sure you have a partner that's not a jerk. Like,
Yeah.
make sure that they actually know how to avoid some of those things. Like we talk about different positions that are probably no-goes for a little while. Or maybe positions that are take caution with these, tap early with these, or any of those things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So-
I'm real quick to tap when it comes to my knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck
Well, like, yeah, I mean,
Done got a history.
well, yeah, I mean, I just recently just got back to it. I honestly, like the way it sounded and the way it felt, I'm surprised nothing tore, but nothing was torn. So, but it was pretty loud pop. So, but luckily nothing. Yeah, but I was out. I mean, I took a month and a half off, did some therapy, and
Yeah.
And then this was something I wanted to talk to you about too, because we're seeing such a rise with like these health clinics and like peptides. Like, what are your thoughts on things like that? I'm mixing that with therapy, and I mean that's what I did. I took BPC 157 and TB 500 for the Wolverine gene. And it's pretty great. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, no, I mean, so
Yeah.
I just injected straight into the area that was hurt. Mixing that with PT, I feel like it sped my recovery up tenfold.
Yeah. So a lot of those things are really new. And truthfully, I haven't looked into a whole lot of the research with it. So I honestly can't talk a whole lot about it. But as far as I know, it's still fairly preliminary. Some of it looks promising. Some of it looks like it might just be placebo. But I say this to my patients all the time, like, even if it is a placebo effect, it's still an effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think the human brain is incredibly strong and influential in terms of what we do, how we feel, all the above. Like, if it psychologically gives you relief, to me, that's as good as anything else,
I agree.
because your body is going to follow that. That's honestly a lot of the philosophy that I work off of, is that if we can get your perception of whatever it is that is painful to be less dangerous, then almost always the human body is going to follow. I think that's one of the reasons why you hear things about like hypnobirthing. Have you ever heard about that?
No.
Well, it's weird, but
Okay.
so it basically takes the idea of mantras and meditation and hypnosis, and it applies them to birth.
Huh.
Right? I know.
Like,
Yeah.
for like the women, like for her, like pain tolerant, like
Yeah.
really?
So,
So instead of getting like an epidural, you're getting hypnotized.
basically, like, you're hypnotizing yourself
Oh.
the entire time. So my former dental hygienist, I don't have her anymore. I think she got a different job. But either way, she did hypnobirthing, and it's really popular over in New Zealand, right? So she was telling me all about it. She was like, "Oh yeah, like I hardly had any pain at all.
Not even doing the accent. I'm just
No,
kidding.
you stop it. She's not New Zealander.
Oh, okay.
She's American."
Okay. I was joking.
No, but no, she was like, I hardly had any pain at all, and it was honestly pretty great and like kind of chill. I was like, what? Okay. And at that point, I was on my second pregnancy, and she was like, yeah, you interested in it? And I was like, I'll try anything. Why not? I remember the first one, so like, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to these recordings, and it's this New Zealander lady being like, my birth is quick and painless. And I was like, my birth is quick and painless. No, it's not. It's not. And like, I couldn't get into it. I could not make
'cause
myself.
You've done it before, and you're like, I
believe
know
it.
exactly what
Give me
this
that.
feels like.
Give me that
I
epidural.
was like, you guys are full of shit. Like,
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean,
but no, like there's
well,
tons of reports of like women even being like, oh yeah, no, I had an orgasm during it. And I was like, no, you didn't. You stop it.
yeah.
Like,
that's not fair.
why?
Yeah. What?
A, that's not fair, but also it makes me feel weird. Like,
Yeah.
why are you doing that?
Shouldn't-
Don't do that.
Yeah. The baby's in there.
Stop it. Smack your hand. But no, so like in terms of how we view pain and how it affects us, like it can be very, very variable, very different depending on who you are, what your experiences have been with pain. Growing up, did you have like your helicopter parents who are like, the paper cut is the worst thing in the world? Or did you have a parent who was like, you're probably fine, I don't care,
Rub some dirt on it.
figure it out?
I
Yeah.
played a whole hockey game on a broken ankle because of that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So like your pain tolerance or your perception of things that are painful is going to be different than somebody who had like a helicopter parent. Past injuries will kind of color how we feel about things. So there's a metaphor that a lot of people will use of like pain and your perception of it is just a fire alarm. So your brain is going to send danger signals. That's the fire alarm. And is it actually a fire, or are you just making food? What is it? Are we actually just exercising, or is there actual damage being done? whereas there's something actually dangerous happening. And sometimes those signals can get a little bit funky. So that's where a lot of those brain games come in, and you start kind of playing around with that.
Well, this was something that I did with baseball. I mean, you get a lot of nagging injuries and like
Yeah.
stupid sorenesses with baseball.
It's true.
But
It's a
nothing.
long season.
Yeah, and I mean, none of it's truly like dangerous to the like some tendonitis. Like, okay,
Mhm.
you know, but like I used to have really bad like SI joint pain.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a book that I read, and it was like my Bible. I still read it to this day. There's a lot of cool mental tricks in there, and it's called The Mental Game of Baseball by J.A. Dorfman. And he talks about how with things that aren't serious injuries, like a nagging injury, how like a trick is like get down, focus on your breathing, get to a point of like being
Mhm.
in meditation, and then imagine yourself going into your body. That injury is this glowing red piece of paper,
Mhm.
and it's just there, and it's just like pulsing, and you can see it pulse, you can feel it pulse, and then like go in and just grab it with your hands and feel it in your hands, feel the pulse in your hands, and then crumble it up into a piece of like just crumble it up into a ball,
Yeah.
and then just feel that, squeeze it, all that, and then like feel that pain, and then throw it away, and just like just mind tricks like that. And it was amazing because I
Yeah.
would do that. Like I remember there was one time in particular, I was in a high level showcase down in Florida. It was a world underclassmen showcase. So anybody that was below a senior that was tops in the world was invited to this. So it was a big deal. And I had been just coming back off of my SI joint pain, and it was just nagging me. I couldn't like it would just pinch here and there, but it wasn't anything serious. And I remember just sitting like laying on the ground in my hotel room and just doing this over and over and over. And like every little time I did it, it would just got less and less and less and
Mhm.
less. And then all of a sudden, like as I was heading to the field that next day, felt amazing.
Awesome. I mean, the human body's just gets so amazing how we can kind of do that. I mean, there's so many. I mean, like you talked about placebos earlier. I know there's a ton of research out there to like proving that the placebo effect is real. You know, I mean, with
Right.
people, you know, they give people an actual drug and they give another group a sugar pill, and you know they
Mhm.
get just the same results if or
Not
it's
just
not better or whatever it is.
not
Well,
just about the body, but the human mind.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I guess what I was more meaning. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy what your mind can do
Oh
for your
yeah.
body.
And the fact that we
Absolutely.
haven't even tapped into all of it. Like I was having this question, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine who's a psychologist, and I was asking her, or she was talking about how she works with people with schizophrenia and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, my question is like, are they just tapped into a part of your brain that everyone has,
Mhm.
but they just have the ability to tap into it? And if everybody tapped into that part of their brain, they'd be hearing voices and hearing all the same things. Like there really are all these voices around us, but they're so like they're tapped into that part of their brain that allows them to hear those things that not everybody else is tapped into. And she's like, that's kind of the debate that's going on right now from what I'm learning and seeing.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of questions around that because what we use 10% of our brain, something like
It's
that.
So
And
I don't know how they're
so,
measuring that though.
right.
uh, I, I believe that's the difference between like gray matter and white matter.
Okay.
So I think that's where it comes from. It's kind of a misnomer
Gotcha.
of sorts. Like we only use 10% of our brain, but really it's
It's like
like
10% of our brain is actually functioning.
yeah,
parts.
like can actually be functioning in some way, shape, or form. If I remember correctly, that is actually what it refers to, but it gets misquoted all the time.
Right.
But
Well, and
that's like almost philosophical, though.
right. Well, again,
Right.
on that same note,
It's really
and I'll
close.
take it here because I take it here a lot. But there was I was listening to on podcast recently, and they were talking about a guy who supposedly had an encounter with aliens, and he said that, what one of the things that the aliens supposedly told him is that you that humans have not even barely like scratched the surface of our potential, and it's like what else can we do? Who
Yeah.
knows? But just kind of made me think of that,
No,
which is,
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, who
right.
knows? They may, because there's a lot of theories out there that, if people are seeing aliens, are they actually from other planets? Are they from other dimensions? Are they us from the future? Like, there's all these
I
You
think
know?
the nature of invention kind of speaks to that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't know what we're capable of until we actually have to think about it and problem solve through it. Kind of crazy, really.
Right. Definitely.
Like AI. I mean, that's
Right.
Oh my gosh.
that's a
Yeah.
whole nother part that I didn't
I
even
mean,
think would
5
be
years ago,
anything.
I was, AI, like we never even like there. I mean, it was out there, I suppose, but like no one was using it on the scale that they are today. And
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like over a billion users of ChatGPT on a daily basis now, which
Yeah,
is
that's too
bananas.
much. That is like way too much.
Well, then here's the thing. Well, we just had a really cool experience with ChatGPT over the weekend.
Oh
We
yeah.
just had we did pictures with Santa up here. We invited a bunch of people and we were posting about it on social media and all this stuff. And at the very end, there was 2 couples and a bunch of kids that came walking in. And
I showed up like 5 minutes before we were
Yeah.
done. Like our buddy who was our Santa was about to. He's like, "Am I good? Can I go? Can Santa go back to the North Pole?" And
Right, yeah.
luckily the room was locked because he came back out. And as he came back out, these kids were walking in, and I get them walked over to Santa and get them started to set up to get their picture. And I come back and I'm like, "Hey, do you know them?" He's like, "No, I don't." I'm like, "I don't know them." So I have them write their name and all that information down. And then we're talking. I'm like, "Oh, how'd you guys hear about us?" And he's like, "Oh, I just put in a ChatGPT. Where can we go get pictures taken?" And this was the first thing that popped up. And we're like,
what?
Huh.
Like our little thing,
Yeah.
that
Interesting,
we had
yeah.
with
Yeah.
our clients and like
Yeah.
some family members and
yeah.
stuff. Like, yeah, they showed up here. It was crazy. And come to find out, I did some digging on that, but apparently it was our event because we set up an Eventbrite and the
Yeah.
Eventbrite, what brought it there apparently.
Really?
Like Gina was like, how? No way. And like, she was like trying to figure it out.
Well, now
Um,
too, with the way Instagram is tying into
Mhm.
Google with the
Mm.
SEO,
Yep.
that and I'm sitting there posting to our stories, and we've got the funny elf video
Yep.
and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's just kind of crazy how ChatGPT is just now like integrated into everything.
Oh, yeah. Like
So-
that's I forget what the statistic is, but there's a lot of people using ChatGPT just to find stuff around them now. And there's a podcast that I listen to that's basically on marketing, and he was talking about how like you really need a Google business profile if you're going to be showing up in those AI searches and stuff like that, and you need to actually cultivate it and maintain it and put new pictures, respond to reviews, all that stuff. Like
Well, try
it
this.
needs to look alive.
So I saw somebody post about this where they did like, "Hey, ChatGPT, give me a point of view of my business." And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I did it, and I was like, "Wow, that's really freaking cool."
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I did that the other day. It was just like I was like I basically asked, say, tell me what you can about Zach Vegas, the realtor, and like it just crazy, like all the stuff that it came up, brought up the podcast, brought that I do CrossFit, jiu-jitsu, like all these things. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah, like all the stuff.
like it like knew everything about me. Like, oh, you got a wife and 2 kids, and like,
I hate
whoa.
that, but it's fine.
Yeah. okay, yeah, it's just crazy how
Yeah.
much in this, and it's such early stage of this too. Like
Oh,
this
yeah.
is like the iPhone 1 or iPhone 2,
Oh, yeah.
or like the
We're just scratching
or
the
at
surface
the
of
Super
capability.
Nintendo. We're not even at the Xbox 360 yet, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's just such early stages, and like what is life going to look like 10 years from now? Like
I don't know.
just
I don't think I can comprehend it right now, though.
no,
It's
How-
like,
no,
it's too
we-
much.
How
How can we predict it?
And how has that affected what you do?
I mean, right now, not much. Pretty soon, though, I'm gonna be moving to an AI documentation system,
Okay.
to where like it'll just listen to what I say to all my patients, and it'll make my note for me.
That'd be
That's gonna
nice.
be pretty baller. I'm not gonna lie.
for sure.
I'm
Well,
really
Instead of having
excited
to
for
write
it.
all that shit out, that's probably time
Yeah.
consuming.
yeah, it's
There's
gonna-
like you have like a lot of templates,
Mhm.
and because of that, you start getting lazy with your documentation. You're like, I don't care to write this out.
right, yeah.
Because like anymore, writing a note is just legalities. It's not even really to let you know what you did and if it worked, which was the original reason for a note. And then as all of this red tape started coming up around healthcare, they started requiring certain things to be in notes to begin with. And then your electronic medical record system came up, and they're like, oh, well, now it's easier to document. So now we're going to make you have
Even more.
X, Y, and Z extra in every single note. And it just keeps building from there. So I'd be super excited to have an AI just write my note for me.
Yeah, it'd be
and like
literally-
supposedly,
Yeah, just wear like a little headset, like
Not even.
like an AirPod or something.
No, not even.
No.
Like
Huh.
you can put it on your phone or your laptop or tablet, whatever it is, and then just hit record. It'll listen to our conversation like this. Like if you were coming to me for your knees, we could literally talk about something totally random, like a party you're going to, and it'll be able to pick out the fact that that's not relevant to your treatment, and it'll leave it out of the note.
Oh wow, that's
It's
cool.
That's cool.
Pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Oh, that'll be
So I'm
game
excited to
changer.
do that. Yeah.
Well, and I feel
It's
like what it is.
A couple months away though.
Right. I feel like what it is that you do, you can't like take
Yeah,
AI.
AI is not gonna take your job.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about AI coming and taking your job.
No, depends. So like there's certain people who think maybe just because of the exercise programming aspect of physical therapy. So like I know a lot of personal trainers that are really nervous about AI because you can literally go on ChatGPT and be like, "Hey,
I do it all the time.
Same.
Yeah. I really want a strength and conditioning program that'll get me toward these goals in X amount of time. I want to work out these days of the week. I want it to be progressive overload, and I want every workout to be this long."
Mm-hmm.
And I just go, there
Yep.
it is.
I know. I did it literally like 3 days ago. I was on my way to the gym, and I'm like, man, what am I going to do today? And I'm trying to plan it out in my head. And I'm just going to talk to ChatGPT. And I was like, earlier this week, I trained jujitsu these days. And when I lifted, I did this, this, and this. Like, write me a new workout. I want it to be around 45 minutes. I want there to be 2 strength pieces and some sort of conditioning metcon. Like, it was like, and it gave me like a perfect little 45-minute workout. And I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I'm at a public gym. Can we make it where it's like less running around and I can do everything pretty much in one spot?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll rewrite it for the. It's like, oh,
You're like,
God,
don't worry about it. And you're like, oh, by the way, no Bulgarian split squats.
Yes.
I hate that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Screw those.
Yeah,
no,
I don't want those.
I did it last week when I was here. I was like, listen, I've got dumbbells, I got a barbell, and I have a row machine that I can use. I'm coming off of a knee injury. Give me a 15-minute EMOM that's going to focus on easy on my legs. Give me a good cardio and chest and back. And next thing you know, it rips off. It says, all right, well, hey, you've got barbell bench press for 1 minute into our dumbbell RDLs into burpees. And I was like,
okay. Yeah. And like,
cool.
why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, yeah, but I could see how personal trainers could be kind of worried about that. I mean,
yeah.
But the other thing is,
but it doesn't teach you the mechanics.
It's not going to teach you.
No.
It's not going to teach you the mechanics. It's not going to be the motivator for you. 'Cause
Right,
like when I'm in a CrossFit class, like I definitely work out harder in a CrossFit class than I do when I'm by myself. That's just a fact. Like when I'm around other people and I got the coaches, and I got the coach right there. Hey, Zach, hey, make sure we're squatting. Let's get below parallel, or whatever it is. And they're like making sure that I hit like. AI is not going to make sure that I'm not cheating on my burpees or whatever it is.
Right, exactly.
Like that's something that physical or a personal trainer, you're not gonna be able to replace that, or a coach of any kind.
I think that's the saving grace for a lot of like client oriented or customer facing positions. I think that's their saving grace most of the time, is that even though if you wanted to, you could get probably a pretty solid program, honestly, out of ChatGPT. You're not going to get necessarily the motivation for it. You're not going to get the accountability for it that you would get by saying, "Oh shit, Zach is waiting for me at 10."
Yeah, like I don't want to disappoint him.
You don't have that groaning match that you have
Yeah.
before your personal training session. It's just you groaning and going, maybe not.
Right.
Like, so you don't have those things. You don't have the relationship that you probably are going to build over time with that trainer or therapist, right? And if you're a trainer that actually does some sort of manual component like stretching or something like that, you're not going to get that either, right? Unless you're fine just stretching yourself, which, it's fine. It's boring though. Like, I don't know why. It's just more fun when somebody else does it for you.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I
so
can scratch my own back on this wall, or I can have you do it.
Right, exactly.
I'd rather you do it.
I'd rather you do it instead of me shimmying right
yes,
here.
Exactly.
So, those components I think will maybe decrease some of the need for physical therapists. And we already have some data to show that certain conditions probably don't need therapy like we thought they did. probably just needs time, or it probably just needs a general program to get you started, and that'll be most of it. And then maybe you need therapy later on for more of those high level activities that you want to do. Or maybe like a good trainer for some of those high level activities. Cause let's be real, a lot of therapists don't know jack about training. Like we're just used to broken people, you know? That was something that I had to do probably about 4 years ago now, is just figure out how to work with people that aren't broken. Like, oh, you can actually do stuff. Oh, that's cool. Hold on a second. I need to figure this out. Like, what's a squat again? I forgot about that. Like that's under load.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so, you know, you have to run the gamut of it, if you're going to be any good at it. But that manual piece, you're not going to have somebody who can, or there's no AI program that's going to be able to, you know, mobilize your shoulder or push on your back or whatever it is. Even whenever I teach people how to do some of those things on their own, it's never the same as having somebody else do it on you. Like trying to massage yourself is like trying to tickle yourself. It's just not,
Right.
You might get lucky here and there, but it's just not going to work out great.
Unless you have like one of those Theragons or something like that. I mean, I guess that's kind of something you can massage yourself with. But even that.
Yeah, like even then, like that's not even as good.
No, it's not
a
as
lot
good.
of times.
No, it's definitely not as good. I would much rather go and get a legit massage than give myself one with a foam roller or a Theragun or a trigger point thing or whatever it is.
I've legit only been in one massage chair ever that I was like, this is worth everything. This is great. I would take this every day. Like, just one. And it was, I think that one had AI in it too.
Oh, really?
But it was crazy expensive. It was like $12,000 or something.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, in my dreams, maybe.
Yeah.
Have that.
Yeah, that's crazy expensive.
Yeah, it's like ridiculously expensive. They were at Costco, and they're like trying to peddle these things. And I sat in that chair.
Not flying off the shelf.
I mean,
I don't know, for $12,000, like that's crazy.
If I had the money, I would have, you know. No, I sat in that chair and I sent my husband away. Yeah. And my husband hates salespeople, right? Like he does not like salesmen. So he was like, I'm not going over there, but you should go over there because you like massages and might as well. And I was like, okay. I sat there for a solid 45 minutes just listening to this person talk to me while I got a massage. I was like, I'm not mad about any of this. I don't even care. And he was pissed. He was like, why aren't you coming back?
Yeah. Like, he didn't want to come over.
Yeah, he didn't want to come over. He was like texting me, like, please leave. Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not moving.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, you could get it for your clinic and use it as a write-off.
There's actually a cardiologist in the area who has like 5 of them or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And he has his patients use them before their appointments. Like there's, I don't know, I remember the salesman like giving me the statistics of stuff like that. And they said like people who use their chair every day, like saw a reduction in blood pressure, like they came off of meds, stuff like that, which makes sense. I mean, it would improve blood flow. It would help the nervous system actually calm down, which for a lot of people is one of the reasons why they have higher blood pressure. Yeah, so like some of the stuff was really impressive, the stats he was giving, but also he's a salesman, so
sure, of course, he's gonna try to sell it. Do
why not?
does,
right? You know,
yeah, absolutely.
He's gonna do his thing,
right.
But I don't know. The cardiologist bought into it, so he bought like 1 million of them. But why not?
Right.
Kind of makes me want to know who he is, so I can just go visit him.
Yeah, I'm like,
I've got high blood pressure.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I took my blood pressure this morning. It's a little high. Can I sit in your chair?
Right. Yeah. I guess in my mind, it's high. Is that fine?
I only had 10 cups of coffee this morning. My anxiety's a little bit through the roof.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, as a therapist, have you seen a rise in anything in particular that's you're seeing more and more of these days that's coming through?
Chronic pain. Yeah. Honestly, there's more and more of those people coming through, and I think as a lot of it is just our society and how it is. Like we're more anxious, that's for sure, which is going to add into, what we call catastrophizing some of your symptoms. Like if I get a paper cut, is it the end of the world or is it fine, right? So it kind of makes people a little bit more quick to jump the gun of like, the world is falling apart or my world is falling apart and now I'm old, but I'm only 30, like, stuff like that. But it's also, our healthcare system is not great. Nobody wants to be a part of it, including most of our healthcare practitioners. Like, like we hate it, Nobody wants to deal with insurance anymore because all they do is take our money. That's no fun. Suck. So people are just really avoiding getting things done or getting things checked out the way that they need to and should. And by the time they do, they get the runaround. Like they have healthcare practitioners who don't have time to see them and actually evaluate them the way that they should. They're not listening because they don't have time to listen. Like how many times have you gone to a physician and they were just sitting there charting on their computer the entire time, 5 minutes. They're like, okay, you good? Cool. Bye.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, because they got to see like 4 people an hour or something crazy like that.
Which is the same thing. I think it's more for physicians. I think it's more like 4 to 6, something like that.
It's crazy.
Like they're crazy inundated. I know that they are. So I don't really blame physicians very much because of that. Some physicians can actually kind of leverage themselves in order to actually have more time with their patients, but a lot of them can't. I mean, they also have student loans to pay off. They're kind of hamstrung whenever they first get out of residency at that point. But no, I mean, like most physical therapists that are in network, they are seeing one patient every 15 minutes. And, the way I described it, because I was in that kind of setting for a while, is that picture yourself being the leader of a meeting, and you're the leader of every meeting for your whole day. Every meeting is completely different from one another. Every meeting starts every 15 minutes on the minute, and they all last somewhere between 45 and 90 minutes. So there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
And then you put into the fact that, insurance reimbursement is declining for PT, which means that productivity standards are increasing for PT, which means you need to see more people an hour. So sometimes you're double booked for that 15-minute period, which hopefully they have a, similar enough condition to where you can kind of think through it. These people are trying to like word vomit their issues while you're working on them, which might be like 5 minutes by the time you get to them. A lot of times you throw people on heat and ice just so you can breathe and think for a second. You're like, I don't know where I am right now. You hope to God you have a tech like who can like clean your mats in between patients for you, or help people through exercises, which I hate that too, because like most of the time the tech is like a high school student who's like, I don't know,
Just gonna do it, whatever.
so you do some of these and some of these, and I don't know, go home. Like they have no idea what they're doing half the time. And, you just pass people off as soon as you can. That way you can get to the next person. And also you're the you're the notes person for the meeting too. Like you are the minutes. So it's a very stressful environment to be in, when you're seeing like 20 to 30 people a day, depending on how long your shift is. It's just bullshit. Like you sit there and you wonder why care sucks, or like, I don't even blame people when they're like, yeah, I don't think therapy is really worth anything. Like, I get that. Yeah, I understand. Like, a lot of times it's not even the therapist's fault. Like, it's just, they just don't have time to care.
Right. I'm sitting here just trying to think like what would solve it. And it's like, okay, well, it's clearly there's, the fact that there's clearly not enough therapists for, or the people, well, at least that's my first thought, is that's the problem. But then I'm like, no, it's they have to see that many people because they're paid based on the amount of people that they see. So they're directly incentivized to like see more people. The more people I see, the more I get paid. So, and you said that the rates dropped or whatever, right?
Yeah. They drop every year pretty much.
Yeah, so they have to see more. And it's like, initially I'm like, okay, well, it's a supply issue. Like we have a big demand and not enough therapists. And that's why they have to see so many, but that's not it. It's because their
compensation. Yeah.
And it's like, and they're totally like hamstrung by these insurance companies.
Yeah.
And because they're
So
the
do we get
ones
rid
that
of insurance?
I mean, it's a fucking racket, is what it is.
It is, yeah.
I mean, for anybody, I mean, I know, I'm sure we could, if we got a room of 100 people, I bet it would be an overwhelming majority if we raise our hands and had, hey, have you ever dealt with insurance, and was it super easy and convenient, and they paid for everything that you wanted? And I bet
How many of you have been hurt by Regina George?
Yes,
Is that it?
yeah, that's what it would look like.
One of those.
Exactly. Nobody would raise their hand. And so clearly, I think, and the insurance companies are, I mean, they kind of run the world, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's everything. And it's crazy that you pay all this every month, or your employer pays it every month, and then when you actually have to use it,
They hardly come through at all.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Like
it's
I pay all this money per month, and I had to go get an MRI. It cost me $2,800.
yeah.
yeah, isn't that
Like, what?
nuts?
Yeah.
I'm like,
You already know it didn't cost that much for them to run that.
yeah.
No,
It did not.
no
Oh.
way.
Well, and that's what's crazy. So I wish I would have
Even
saved.
put in maintenance fees for the MRI. It didn't cost that much.
I wish I would have saved this post, but I saw something on social media that was something like talking about, doesn't it ever, like, aren't you ever curious, like, why all these big flat screen TVs never get expensive and the price always goes down? Oh yeah, it's because the government didn't come in and try and make it affordable.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, you ever wonder why like LASIK eye surgery costs this much, but like standard healthcare surgery for something else, or like LASIK's like $2,000, but if you go in and get surgery done, it's $100,000. Oh, that's because the government didn't try and make LASIK affordable. And like, so it's like you go and look, and like everything that they've tried to make affordable just made it more expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories that I've heard about, like, people who have insurance. I'm one of them, actually. But like I had to go get pelvic floor therapy after having my kids, and like, it's such a specialized part of physical therapy that, like, I got myself to a certain point, and I was like, all right, well, I need help. I need somebody that actually works with that area, because I know I don't. So I went to Mercy and went to work with her name's Brooke. She's amazing. If anybody's listening to this,
Shout out, Brooke.
yeah, shout out to Brooke at
Brooke at
Mercy.
Mercy.
She's pretty freaking great. And she has a really long, like, months-long wait list for a reason. But either way, I got in to see her, and the lady was like, hey, so until your deductible is met, it's going to be $200 every single time that you come in for, I think it was like 30-minute appointments, something like that. And she goes, or you could waive your insurance, and it'd be $100 cash pay every single time you came in. And I was like, that's the easiest decision of my life. Like, take my money for $100. Like, I don't even, so like, there was no way to claim it afterward because I waived it at that point. So I'm like, what's it for? Because I knew by then, like, it was November or something like that. I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to meet my deductible.
No.
Several $1,000s. There's no way.
Yeah,
like, I might as well.
20 times before, or 10
Yeah.
times before.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, absolutely no. And I was only seeing her like once a week, once every other week, something like that, because I walked in, I started saying things, and she was like, what do you do? You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm a therapist. She was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll figure this out real quick. And so it was a great experience, but I mean, it was not worth, $200 for 30 minutes,
Right.
you know? And I sat there and I thought about it. I was like, well, damn, like, if I go out of network on purpose, which is what I am, right? All of my services are out of network. If I do that, that's $200 roughly an hour. That's generally what it comes out to. And then it's one-on-one. There's no sharing. Everything's included. Like, I had to pay separately for dry needling at Mercy. That's included. Like, I get access to ask questions in between appointments, because we actually have time to, like, think about things and talk about things. We troubleshoot through things. Like, I've taken most of my CrossFit athletes through all of their barbell cycling. Like, you can't do that at a regular PT clinic. That's not going to happen. Like, we have the ability to do all those things, which means you have to see me less frequently. Like most of my patients are once a week, once all their symptoms calm down, if that, you know. So you think about time and money, time off work, and like how much face time you get with your therapist is like 5 minutes versus 60. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want to pay top dollar for? Every single time, hands down, I'd rather pay one-on-one. I would rather go out of network at that point.
100%.
It doesn't make sense the more I think about it. I'm like, why do people do that? Unless their deductible is met. I tell people all the time, like, hey, like I highly recommend that you at least claim this. Claim it with your insurance. The worst they can do is be insurance and say no. Like that's the worst that can happen. The best thing that can happen is that you can treat me like a rebate almost, and they give you a little bit of money back. Like that would rule. Go for that. Use your FSA, use your HSA. You earned it. Might as well use it. Yeah, at least claim it. At least try. And if your deductible is met, no hard feelings. You do not have to come see me. Like try your luck with therapy down the road at an in-network clinic. I don't blame you. Give the middle finger to insurance as much as you can.
Yeah.
Like use your benefits if you have the ability to, but if they're not going to do anything for you, look for the quality.
Definitely. And while you're speaking of quality, that just makes me think of, at least all the out of network physical therapists. I went to an out of network physical therapist for my knee when I had knee surgery. And I could have gone somewhere in network, but I knew I just had a feeling what I was going to get if I went in network, and it was going to be a completely different experience than when I got out of network. I was like, I'm going to go there and it's going to be, I'm going to get a 5-minute FaceTime. She's going to have me lay on a table and stretch my knee for, and I was like, that's not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go somewhere where somebody knows what I do. Like she knows about CrossFit. She knows about jiu-jitsu. She's familiar with the sports that I do, and she's going to do, and she's not just going to have me laying on a table and stretching. I'm actually going to be moving because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to get back to my sport as fast as possible.
Right. Exactly.
Because it's like, I want to actually like go there and feel like I did something versus, like when I went to my physical therapy sessions, like, I mean, they were it was like a workout. I left there and I was sweaty.
Absolutely.
Like I was, I was covered in sweat when I left there, and I felt like, I was on crutches, but I'm moving around as much as humanly possible for me right now.
Exactly.
And like, that's the experience I wanted. And I just feel like in network, I have very little experience, no experience with going in network, but from what I've heard, like that's kind of what you get is everything that you just described.
I mean, I think that's my biggest critique with like traditional physical therapy is that like the only thing that it strives for is what insurance will cover, and insurance will cover getting you back to the basics. So that's what they strive for. Like they're not going to strive for you to be able to be better or to feel like fulfilled and ready to return to sport of some kind or like go hiking with your kids or something like that. They don't care about that. They care that you can walk. They care that you can put on your shoes, and that's about it.
Right.
So,
because if you go back to jiu-jitsu and then you get hurt again, now they're having to pay more money.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, well, turns out you're dumb. I don't know. Like that's not fun.
No.
BS. So that's my biggest critique is that most in-network PT places are going to strive for the bare minimum, the basics, because that's what they get reimbursed for. That's what they get seen for. So you look around their clinic and all their equipment will reflect that. So they have a whole bunch of PT beds. They have TheraBand that, by the way, the highest, poundage that you can get on that resistance is like 15 pounds. It's laughable. It's dumb. You're just going to sit there on yellow for 10 hours. Like, and I hate that.
Right.
They've got, dumbbells up to 10 pounds, which is great.
Yeah. For my grandma.
Yeah. For your grandma or like really early post-op.
Yeah.
Or if somebody who's just like, I literally can't tolerate anything. I get that. But otherwise, like, don't you have some boxes at least at home that you have to be able to pick up and move around? Like, do you have a dog? The dog food is kind of heavy. Like, do you have kids? Kids are heavy after a little while. Like my kids are about 40 pounds and they're not even that old yet. They're 5 and 7 almost. So you think about all those different things, and it's just that's not even that much higher than bare minimum at that point, which for most people that's going to feel like bare minimum. Like you're telling me that I can't really take care of my dog because you don't have the equipment to literally mimic that
Right.
in the clinic. That's a problem.
It's crazy to me that they don't have like just the weights that they have,
Right.
like
Yeah.
10 pounds. Like
Most of them don't.
that's crazy to me.
Like a lot of them don't. It's actually kind of a rarity to see like real machines in a clinic, which is usually like a ham curl machine or a leg extension machine. If you're super lucky, you'll get a cable column, a functional trainer. But otherwise, it's like have some dumbbells and TheraBands.
Cool. You're set.
Get her done, buddy.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you
Like,
walk
I
into
don't know
the
what I'm
place that
doing.
I went to physical therapy. I mean, it almost looks like a CrossFit gym. Like there's
Yeah.
squat racks and there's,
Yeah.
they got turf and sleds and like all these things.
Absolutely.
It's like, that's what you should
That's
be
what it
doing.
should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should actually go there and move your muscles that you're trying to repair.
Absolutely. You
Or
should be always training and rehabbing to get to the point that mimics your daily life and whatever you want to be able to do. And if that is going against somebody that is literally trying to break you and submit you, then okay,
Yeah.
let's go figure that out. If it's you trying to lift 100 pounds overhead with a barbell or more, whatever it is, okay, fine, let's figure that out. Like the closest you're going to get to performance training in a lot of PT clinics is running. And even then, like running is a little bit more than what some therapists will even try to dabble in because they don't have to think about it as much because most people don't expect them to. So you end up having like this huge gap between acute rehab where it's really early and you can't tolerate anything, and then performance training like a trainer would have. So you don't have a whole lot of people who can bridge that gap. So that's my whole thing is if I can bridge that gap and see people from point A all the way to Z, I'm going to do that.
Wow.
Do a good job.
Absolutely. So was this experience when you went and went for the pelvic floor therapy? Is that like when you're dealing with the injury? Was that like an eye-opening moment where you decided to do your own thing, or was it before then?
I was dabbling with it whenever I was doing pelvic floor. Like I was just starting to kind of branch out and market myself. I tell everybody that my entire career feels like it's basically been God-led at this point. It's been a lot of me just being like, okay, I guess I will. I don't know, like whatever it feels like I'm supposed to be doing or what I feel like I'm being called to do. I'm just saying okay, and I go try it. So like me doing outpatient in general, I started in inpatient rehab. So inpatient rehab is literally teaching people how to walk again and stuff like that after traumatic events. So it could be car accident, stroke, whatever. I went from that into outpatient, and it was partially because I got tired of rehab. A lot of red tape in there. That just makes me angry. I'm kind of rebellious, so no red tape. I don't want it. But I also just felt like this isn't what I was supposed to do. This isn't what I envisioned. It's not what I felt called to do. So I went into outpatient. Learned a lot through there. And then when COVID hit, we started seeing like nursing in particular getting paid astronomical per hour wages. Like I was hearing of some of them getting like $200 an hour during COVID. And I looked at our insurance system and I started to panic a little bit. I was like, this is not sustainable. Like there is no way that I'm going to have a job soon if this is how this is going. I need to think of something else. So I'm like, what is PT adjacent? And the little voice in the back of my head, like training. I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know how to do that really. I haven't thought about that for, I don't know, 4 years or so, 5 years. And I was driving down the road and I saw it as one of these big box gyms that they were hiring as a sign-on bonus. And I was like, felt this little nudge like, hey, go do it. you have time, Tuesday and Thursday, go try it out, figure it out. So I took a little bit of a pay cut and learned how to do training and learned some sales and picked the brain of a lot of the trainers that were there at that gym and learned a ton, honestly, with them. I literally had never really stepped foot in a regular commercial gym like that before because I was such a martial arts head. Like, I don't move weights, I move people. I don't know. like I hit things for fun. I don't move weights.
I'll pick up this weight just for
Yeah,
fun.
it's like,
Kinda
this is
boring.
stupid. Yeah. It's like how it felt. So no, I learned how to do all that stuff and how to do it correctly. And then from there, I was like, I really want to know more about this. So I went into a certification called Barbell Rehab, where they literally talk about how to bridge the gap between rehab and training and what are the considerations that you need to have. When do we get nervous about somebody's form and technique? Like, does it pass the vomit test? Do you look at them move and you go, "Ugh, we need to fix that"? Or do you look at it and you go, okay, we have some things to adjust and we have some things to fix, but it's not going to be super detrimental. It'll be fine. And they're also really into, and they teach, movement positivity. So I named my clinic Adapt on purpose because that's how I feel. I think the human body is crazy adaptable, and you can do a lot of things with the human body if you give it time to actually get used to the demands that you want it to get used to. I remember in PT school, it never made sense to me when people were like, oh, doing this is detrimental to your body. But then I would look at like these 80-year-old grandmasters and they're still like kicking stuff above their head. And I'm like, okay, but they've been beaten up their whole life and they're doing awesome. I don't know if you see these guys, but they're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the difference between them and this 40-year-old who is broken? Like, what happened? And I think for me, the answer is adaptability, as they didn't put their body through stressors long enough in order to create that change. They didn't progressively overload like they should have maybe. They didn't listen to their body when their body said maybe pull it back or stop, which is probably most people that come to see me at this point because of, CrossFitters are good at that for a lot of the reasons that you said, like that group mentality. It's a double-edged sword for sure.
Totally.
I mean, it's awesome for motivation, but it's also horrible if you got an ego. So,
For sure.
like
No,
it is rough.
I can
It's
agree with that for sure.
Like CrossFit's awesome. I do it, but it's also great in theory. Like in theory, if you do it well, it's amazing. If you do it poorly, it's going to be really bad and you're going to be best friends with me and a surgeon. It's going to, but if you do it well, like you're going to create longevity that probably most people don't have in the United States. And I definitely believe that at this point. So, during that time period, whenever I was doing all this different training and learning about all this stuff, my entire practice and philosophy around it changed. I started making old ladies do squats and lunges. And I'm like, you want to get off the floor, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, do some lunges. And I had them doing, mini lunges all the way down to the floor over the course of like month or two. Just things that people would not guess that you'd be able to get an old lady with osteoporosis to do.
Right.
It's like all these different things. And I just keep on seeing more and more research that backs up how I see things and how I practice. Osteoporosis is actually a really good example of that. But no, after that, I started having patients be like, can I keep you? Like, can I keep seeing you? And I'm like, I'm not set up for that. So no, so I got tired of saying no. So what I ended up doing was, creating an LLC, and I was like, I'm only going to see people for training. I don't think I'm going to do therapy on my own dime, really. Like I don't think I'm going to do that because at the time we didn't have what we call direct access. So like people needed a doctor's script to even start therapy in Missouri. And that was just a hurdle I didn't want to deal with. So I sat there and I prayed about it. I was like, you know what? If we get direct access, I'll start seeing patients. And then like 4 months later, the bill got introduced and I was like, okay. So like, I guess
that's what we're doing. Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm doing then. That's fine. So, you know, I was doing physical therapy privately outside of another another physical therapy clinic, which is like also not great because it's this in-network PT clinic. I don't even have any kind of signage on the door for me. It's just people being like, is this the place? I'm like, yeah, this is the place. And they're like, why are you here? Which also not a great conversation that you should have like as a entrepreneur, as a business owner. So, you know, I started to look for my own place and I must have tried 5 or 6 different places. And it was either like they didn't have room for me or like I got ghosted several times. Like people are just like, no, we don't want a sublease or we don't have room for you. Or like we could do this, but it's a shady deal. I got a lot of those. And finally I was driving and there's this gym right next to my house and it's called Fit Gym. And I actually avoided it because at the time their sign at first glance looked like FU Gym. Just the way that it was. So I was like, you know, I kept getting these little nudges like, hey, why don't you go in there? Like, you should just go check it out. And I was like, not FU Gym, not doing that. Like, that's even worse. Are you joking? And I just kept on hearing it until finally it was like 5:30 at night. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I've tried everywhere else. Fine, I'll do it. I walked in and I said, hey, is the owner there? And the guy was like, yep, that's me. And I asked him if he was interested in like doing wellness workshops for his gym members. And he was like, yeah. Tell you what, here's my card and talk to me in a few months whenever the weather gets a bit warmer. I think the gym members will be more receptive then. We can do that. And I was like, okay. And I turned and I started to walk out the door. And I stopped because I heard this voice like, no, try harder. And I was like, I don't want to try harder. And he's like, you can try harder. I was like, okay. So I turned around. I was like, would you be interested in a sublease? And the guy stopped. And he looked at his client that he was currently training. And he goes, can you give me 5 minutes? I was like, yeah. And Mike, the owner, led me straight to my room. Private room already, which is what I needed. Already set up with a PT table. And then he proceeded to give me the exact rent agreement that I had been looking for. I was like, what? And I sat there, I was like.
And it's really close to where you live too.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes from my house. Yeah. It's stupid. So like I said, I was like, so I'm going to go from 20-minute commute down to 5. It's the same rent policy that I had. There's way more stuff available. Yeah, it's a fully stocked gym. Like if I can't figure out how to mimic whatever you want to do in that gym, I'm having a bad day. You know, there's something wrong with me at that point. There's so much stuff that you can do there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like wow, there's just worked out. And when was this?
This was back in April of this year. Huh. So I moved into Fit Gym back in April. So I had already been kind of dabbling with it for about 1.5 years, somewhere around there. At that point, mostly just training, and then decided to get more serious in the new year of 2024.
Sweet.
Or no, sorry, 2025 is when I got serious, mostly.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it's been quite the year.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. But like I said, God led at that point.
That's amazing. Wow.
Or are there any other, I know you mentioned, kind of beliefs and philosophies that have changed since you've gotten into it. Is there any other big ones as a whole with physical therapy that have changed since you've started?
Honestly, I think those are the big ones.
Yeah.
Is just that like our bodies are not that fragile.
Mhm.
They're actually super resilient, and they can go through a lot. You know, as long as you give your body time to figure out how to organize itself and how to withstand the loads that you want to do, you're probably going to be fine.
And
You
what's
know,
and what's funny about that is too is like that's usually like the first things doctors tell you when you have a baby. They're not fragile. You're gonna be okay. You're
yeah,
gonna be fine with them.
made of rubber,
Like there's
aren't they?
right.
Yeah.
Like there's like what why there's no reason to think that it doesn't change as we get older. You know.
I mean, for the most part, yeah. Like I have a lot of people that they'll come to me after having not done something for several years because it's just hurt too much, right? Or I'll have like an older adult, like 60, 70, somewhere around in there. They'll come to me after having not done something for decades and they're like, I don't know if I'll ever get there. I'm like, it's it's not false that as we get older, our abilities will decrease. That's true. Like the nerves, they don't fire quite as well. The muscles, they don't move quite as well. The joints don't move quite as well. However, a large portion of that is going to be dictated by your own life and your choices in that life. Like yes, genetics play a good big role in all of this, but your your jumping point when you're like 20, 30 years old, that's physiologically, that is going to be your peak of ability. Whatever you've built up by that point is probably going to be the best that you're going to be in some way, shape, or form, right? You're going to jump off of that and you're basically going to hang glide. And if you do nothing, you're going to take a big nosedive. But the trajectory of that hang glide is mostly pretty linear, right? There's a couple different places that some research is showing that we do take definite dips in ability. And I think it's around 60 and 80, something like that. Somewhere around in there, I think that's when it is. But up until those points, we stay relatively stable for the most part. It's a steady, slow decline
If
after
you
that.
continue.
Yeah, if you maintain your
maintain.
ability, which is the hardest part is maintenance, right? But even harder than maintenance is regaining ability. So those people that take a nosedive, they can still get to that physiological maximum of whatever their genetics will allow. It's just going to be really hard to do.
Yeah.
It just takes time. And I think getting people to understand that is really hard. But the people that I've seen who actually run with that, they're amazing. Like I have a guy right now. He is 83 years young, and we've been working together for about 4 years now, mostly just in training aspects, right? I also do some, dry needling on him and stuff like that now that I do that. But whenever he first started, he couldn't walk in from the parking lot without taking supplemental oxygen, right? Like he would need like a solid 10 minutes just to recover from the parking lot, And now he's like
Running
I think
marathons.
he's probably hunting right now for geese.
Oh,
Like
wow,
that's
awesome.
that's what
That's
he's
pretty cool.
doing. So he's doing awesome. Like I put him through 2 so far, pretty rigorous cardio interval endurance training. Sessions that hour long. Like he's lasted 45 minutes and I gave him some ground rules. I was like, hey man, this is what we're gonna do. We have pulse ox right next to us. I want you to be able to talk to me the entire time. We're going to do 5 minutes of activity. We're going to check your vitals. We're going to make sure that you can talk. And if both of those are good, we got another 5 minutes right after that. We're just going to keep going until things start to fall apart or until the hour's up. We'll find out. And he lasted 45 minutes.
That's amazing.
He did absolutely phenomenal. And that's with him working continuously just on all this stuff. He's got a deeper squat than probably a lot of 60-year-olds. I got video of that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He's awesome. At this point, he's basically another grandpa to me, but we're pretty close.
Would you say that's one of the crazier patient stories that you have, or is there any other ones that stick out?
He's had a great transformation. I had another guy who, he's had several back surgeries and stuff like that, and he took a real chance on me, just financially speaking. He was like, "Yeah, I mean, I can barely afford this, but if what you say is true, I feel like I have to take a chance on this and actually try." And he did phenomenal. Like, he was like walking around like this most of the time, and now he stands up straight. He's ran for the first time in like a decade.
Oh, wow.
Recently, he's back
That's
to
awesome.
doing that. He told me that a long time ago he had to go on disability because of all the pain that he's been in and back surgeries. And whenever I discharged him, he was like, "I think I could go get a job." Like,
That's cool.
it's pretty fun to have like huge changes like that. And another lady that she had a car accident like 20 years ago, and she was a CrossFit person like you guys, and I guess like me at this point. So, no, she's a CrossFit person, and just hadn't been able to do any of it hardly for 20 years because of this car accident. And turns out she just had a capacity issue. Like, nobody ran her through capacity training and conditioning training, with the thought process of, let's irritate things a little bit. Let's be okay with irritating things a little bit and see how far we can push the envelope. Nobody had done that. So I did. And she can do it now. It's great.
Amazing.
I don't think she's gone back to a CrossFit box yet, but she's told me that since then she's been able to do some of the WODs that she's seen online. She recently went on vacation with zero pain for the first time in like 20 years. So,
Awesome.
like, there's nothing better than a vacation where you don't have to think about how to move.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
For sure.
Do you deal with any baseball players, or do any of that stuff? with
Baseball players?
Yeah.
Are you talking about yourself right now? Or?
No, just because we've seen a massive rise
Yeah.
in shoulder and elbow injuries, and I think this was the most, like, especially in the MLB, like the most Tommy
Yeah.
John or shoulder surgery year, the history of the sport.
So myself, I don't see a whole lot of baseball players. I could, but I don't see a whole lot of them right now. But from what I can tell, there's so much demand on baseball players now, and part of that is early specialization in childhood. I remember I had an 8-year-old who was so built up on one side muscularly that they thought he had scoliosis, and he was a pitcher, right? And he was already traveling down to Jupiter, Florida to do like, camps and stuff like that. Like,
That's child in my mind. So I coach
like child abuse.
It's child abuse. I
Yeah.
coach. So I coach high level baseball here, high school baseball.
Yeah.
Next summer will be college baseball, and it's child abuse. It
Yeah.
truly is. Like, it is insane that I don't think any kids that are younger than middle school should play more than maybe 20, 25 games a season. And I've got people that are like, "Oh no, we play 50, 60." I go, I didn't start playing that many games until I was in high school.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
there's no reason for that.
No,
And it's insane.
isn't.
Like, odds are, like, one of the best things, like, when I was playing, it was my sophomore year of high school, and I was pitching at Oklahoma for this scout thing, this tournament. And I was pitching against an 18U team, and this team had like 4 or 5 guys that were getting looked at by these schools that were there, top level D1 schools. And I was pitching very well against them as a sophomore.
Yeah.
And the scouts were there, but my mom was sitting back and they're like, "Well, why aren't you radaring this guy that's pitching?" And the guy's like, "Well, he's a sophomore." And they're just like, "Well, yeah." And they're like, "Yeah, well, he's got a whole nother year
Mm-hmm.
before we're going to be interested in him at that point." And like, there's going to be so much changes in his life between now as a sophomore and where he needs to be at
Puberty.
by
It's
the
gonna be
time.
ridiculous.
Not just puberty, but kind of, but like, we don't know if he's going to get into drugs and alcohol. We don't know if he's going to meet a woman and just give up on sports altogether. Like,
fizzle out maybe.
Yeah, right.
Like maybe
And
he's been
burn
doing this since he was 8 and he's going to burn out.
Right. And so that's the thing is like all these parents, and it's funny because, you know, I've got a 6 and 7-year-old, and my 7-year-old is obsessed with baseball, loves it. And obviously I've got, my prejudice towards that. Like I love that he loves it. That was my sport. But I don't push him, but like I see all these other parents push their kids and like this and this. And I'm like, it just baffles me that where that's going. And I mean, shoot, you want job security? Get into baseball. That shit's not like, especially now they've got these weighted ball programs. They've got these kids throwing like, oh, you have to throw 100 miles an hour, which is stupid.
Like if you follow the big minds in baseball right now, like have you heard of Eric Cressy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you follow that guy at all, you know that his entire thought process between a weighted ball is like, I mean, maybe sometimes, but it shouldn't be the bulk of your throwing or anything like that. Like that's not conditioning for baseball.
So
it might be some weight training in a way.
It's there for arm care.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Not to increase velocity.
Right.
So they're taking these arm care programs and turning them into velocity generating programs. And they've got these kids throwing weighted baseballs as hard as they can.
Right.
And they wonder why shoulder surgery, elbow surgery, because they're not teaching the proper mechanics.
Right.
And they're just like, here, throw this 5-pound baseball as hard as you fucking can.
Right.
That's see a elbow, see a shoulder.
Yeah,
like it's insane to me that this is going on. I was just curious if you worked with any of that stuff, but
yeah, I mean, I haven't worked with it, but I mean, I've definitely seen it for sure. And I have this debate with parents every once in a while at this point. I don't do a whole lot of youth in general. I feel like that's a whole different demographic. No thanks.
Yeah.
But
no, I'm with you. I don't want to coach. I don't want to coach younger kids.
Because you're not treating the kid really. You're treating the parent half the time.
Yeah.
And if the parent isn't going to help you get this program done for their kid, then it's probably not going to work.
Yeah, parents, quit fucking up your kids.
Yeah, stop it.
Stop it, you assholes.
Stop it. No, like a lot of the parents think that they're going to, catapult their kid into like some sort of scholarship, but like, there's scholarships everywhere.
Right.
There's so many different colleges who have maybe not, top level ball clubs, but they'll still give you a scholarship to go play there.
Well, and here's the thing too.
You don't have to try that hard.
It's with the NIL and these transfer portals and all that. It's changed.
Oh, that's a whole nother ball game now too.
Oh
yeah.
And I've taught like my guys, like all these guys that I have that I coach that are trying to go. I'm like, just get in somewhere. Yeah.
Thank you.
Go play junior college.
Yeah.
Go play and go do NAIA. Go to a D3 school.
Go prove yourself.
Get in.
Yeah, get in, go prove yourself, and then show your resume.
Right.
And see if somebody bites.
Yeah. And it's insane, and it's way like it's so much different than when I was getting recruited. Like it was it's so different now. And all these parents are just like, they're trying to relive their glory days to their kids, and there is a lot of that. It's terrible. It's like I personally don't get it, but I don't know, I see it all the time.
Yeah, I know a lot of the people that I talk to. It's either clear they're living through their children, or they are so worried about being able to afford college that they're like, yeah, we're going to go on this select team that costs a lot of money. We're going to do this from the time you're 8 all the way into high school, which, by the way, is probably a tuition's worth of, like, what are you doing? Like you just wasted so much money on not just the league, but traveling fees, like hotel, field fees on top of the rec field or the rec league fees, just everything, uniforms, like. There's so much stuff, and then you put on top of it the showcases. Like, why are you trying to go to a showcase until you're actually going to be recruited? Like, that doesn't make sense. You need to be more strategic about that. And not only that, if you specialize too early, you're actually blunting their ability to learn other movements and be coachable, because
that drives me insane. Absolutely, like even up
neurophysiological development of just having one sport that you do is so different than a multi-sport athlete. That's why multi-sport athletes over time, over and over and over again, they outperform the early specialist.
I'll tell you, there wasn't a single guy that I played Division I baseball with, or a single guy that I didn't play professional baseball with, that were not multi-sport athletes all the way through.
Yeah.
I played hockey, football, baseball. Most of the guys that I played with were football, baseball, basketball.
Yeah.
Like it's insane how, like, so half of my team, I'm coaching a college team next year, but half the kids on the team are seniors in high school right now.
Yeah.
And I had a team meeting with them, and I'm like, how many of you guys play other sports? And I'd say there was like 2 of them that raised their hand. They played soccer. And I'm like, pick up something. Join the swim team.
Yeah.
Go play pickleball.
Go do anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Try out for anything. Go wrestle. Go
Yeah.
do something. And they're like, well, no, I was going to take away. I'm like, you're not allowed to come to practice here and hit until you start doing another sport.
Yeah.
Like it drives me insane that everybody's pushing this, and these organizations like, oh no, baseball 24/7, 365 days a year.
Cross training is so invaluable.
Yeah.
Like the return on that investment is crazy high. Like off season, having an off season is a huge deal.
For sure.
Even if it's just the competitive off season. Like if you like to catch every single day or throw every single day, great. You're not pitching. You're not in competition trying your hardest. But like, yeah, I get it if you want to throw the ball around and you just enjoy it. But at the very least, you have a competitive off season.
Honestly, I told
you're doing
most of
something
them,
else during it, hopefully.
Go dance. Go dance or do gymnastics.
Oh, yeah.
Like learn rhythm.
It's one of the best cross trains, I think, is either gymnastics or dance for most athletes. Like the body awareness you will learn from doing those is crazy.
I can see it just in my kids.
Yeah.
Because my oldest, we took him to little gym or all that and did little gymnastics with him. So just very basic things. My youngest, we took him and he wanted nothing to do. Like, he's like, just sat there. He's like, nope, not doing it. Very stubborn. Didn't want to have it. We tried and we're like, all right, fine. We're just going to pull him out. But the difference in coordination between my oldest son and my youngest son is night and day.
Yeah.
And it's all because of just, I truly feel, because Connor, my oldest, could not wait to go to little gym.
Yeah.
And my youngest would sit there and just scream and cry and yell until like, all right, fuck this, we're leaving. And then he would stop once we put him back in the car.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, speaking of multi-sport, like my football team, when I played football in high school, they made us do we had 2 options in the spring. They either said you play a spring sport or you go and do these spring workouts that were like notoriously brutal. So it was like, it was like,
well,
okay,
of course, I'm going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to go play 10. I literally tried a different sport.
Yeah.
For my junior through, or well, I guess it was my freshman, sophomore year. I was like, freshman year, like a bunch of the football players that didn't want to do anything, like they like went and played tennis. So I played tennis my freshman year. And then my sophomore year, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll try track and I'll just go throw, you know, cause I was not a runner. So I was like, I'm just going to go throw the disc and the shot put and try that out. And then, you know, by my junior year, I was like, okay, I want to try to get in better shape for my last season of football. So I did it my junior year, but I thought that was like I always thought it was kind of crazy, but now that you guys are saying that, I'm like, oh, maybe that makes complete sense to be a purposeful. Purposeful. I just thought they were just being dickheads. But
I mean, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, probably a little bit of both.
No, it keeps you athletic.
It does.
It keeps you athletic, and it's insane that like people are taking that away from kids. Like, and it's gotten bad. It's not just baseball, but like soccer.
Oh yeah, soccer is crazy around here for that.
Yeah, and you know, like, and I've gotten into it. You know, I've talked to some football coaches because obviously, like, baseball for me will start in September. But it's all like very easy, nothing crazy. Just hey, we just want to get the new guys acclimated to how we do things and like the systems that we have in place for how things work. Practices are very easy, very light, like nothing crazy. Plus, hey, cages are open, come and hit, come and throw, do you know, but go do other things. But these, and then, but like the problem is like these football coaches, like, well, it's football season. They're not doing anything but football. I'm like, cool, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to summer and they're starting summer workouts, they're like, well, they got to be here. I'm like, listen, I talked to you last year about this and I gave you, it's baseball season now.
Yeah.
So he's with me. And I've had some coaches that I've gotten into it with over that, and I'm like, no.
I mean, the organization for strength and conditioning and like player health and wellness and even collegiate programs is sometimes just appalling. It's just horrible. Like I had a girl who was at Maryville and she was a starter for 2 different teams. I think it was field hockey and lacrosse, right? So, there's a lot of running in both. There's a lot of stick work in both, very different stick work, but a lot of stick work. And those seasons were right next to each other, back to back. And she was a starter for both. And I was talking to her, I was like, hey, so what is your strength and conditioning program? And she was like, it's mostly just like field drills and stick work. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you don't do any kind of strength training or anything like that? And she was like, no. Like, oh my God, like why not? Who's your AT? Like, where is your athletic trainer? Because you are seeing me, you're injured, you're a starter. Where's your athletic trainer? And she was like, oh, she hasn't really reached out to me at all. I was like, you're a starter for 2 different teams and she hasn't talked to you at all. Like, I understand she has hundreds of athletes, but I would bet if I was an AT, like the starter A would be at the top of my list and they'd be especially there if they were injured.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
not in a starter on 2 different teams.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like they wouldn't be, somewhere in the back of my head. It'd be like, oh no, they're forefront. Like,
for sure.
So I'm like, where's your AT? So like I had to give this girl a strength and conditioning program. And I was like, okay, so you do a lot of running. We're going to do very specifically strengthening program for a lot of agility and running, but also like rehab focused on the things that you specifically suck at right now. Like,
but here's the problem with that though, is like, I know like where I went to school, our strength and conditioning coach was the football strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
So now we're doing lifts. The
and
football
sports specific.
Right. I'm like,
yeah.
Why? Like, I'm not bench press. There's no reason I should bench press whatsoever at all. Like, I don't need
why
that.
are we doing that?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I want to squat. I want to work on my back. There's no reason I need to be doing curls or tricep dips or any of that stuff. Like, those are muscles that I don't need to tighten up. Those are muscles that I need to elongate and keep loose.
Right.
There needs to be some strength aspect to it, but honestly, there's not a lot. But I need a strong back, strong core, and
there's that, and like
I need my legs to look like fucking tree trunks.
Yeah, and it's gonna vary based off of preseason, mid-season, postseason, like off-season in general.
Yeah, it wasn't
like
until
all of it should be different.
It wasn't until I got into pro ball and started working with baseball specific people, and that my workouts completely changed, and actually I got better.
Yeah,
because I'm like, oh no, you're basically doing all the big Olympic lifts like football players are doing, but like that's not the thing. Like, you don't need that for baseball.
Yeah.
So
baseball, you probably need more Bulgarians.
No.
Like
rotational
more
work
Cossack squats, stuff like that. Anything that's going to be more or less like single-sided, unilateral twisting motions, like tons of that.
Yeah.
It's throwing and batting both is a whole lot of rotation.
Yeah, like hips.
Like you need hips for days for sure.
Yeah.
Just there's so much power that comes from your hips whenever you're doing any kind of batting motion or throwing motion that a lot of people they don't think about. They only think about the rotator cuff. But hips and trunk, you can get that power just to drive through. Oh man, you're going to be a monster.
Yeah,
what a lot of people don't think about too is your decelerator muscles. They think about accelerator, but like in baseball, you really need to strengthen those decelerator muscles as well, because you're moving.
That's where all of your injuries usually come from in baseball is deceleration.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a lot of that adaptation to load is, the seasons are getting longer for baseball. The games are, 2-a-days, 3-a-days, depending on whatever you're doing. And if you're a specialty position on top of it, now that's even more load. That's very, very specific. You need to build into that. You need to have very specific preseason progressive overload program. That way, whenever you get into that on season, you're cooked, you're ready to go. And then starting around mid-season, you probably need something to start, dialing you back a little bit and kind of reduce some of those hot coals, right? Just to keep you, again, performing tip-top. And once we hit postseason, then it's all about recovery. Like, how do we fix whatever we kind of broke during, that rigorous season? But so many people don't get that. And they don't get it well either whenever they do get it, usually. So no, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but if you can get your body used to doing all those things, it's going to perform great. I mean, you look at all the different data points of like people who do powerlifting, for example. Like if you look at their spines and you look at their knees, like you would expect those things to look like pancakes. But no, like on average, as long as their progressive overload program was appropriate, their spines actually are healthier than most other people. Their meniscus in their knee is actually thicker than most other people. It's because of that shock absorption, the load distribution. You look at runners, instead of having thicker meniscus, they actually have wider knees that they develop over time just for increased,
Surface area.
surface area in order to take some of that shock. You look at marathon runners who've been doing it for a long time. Again, as long as they have that good progressive overload into their marathon season, you actually see really good disc height overall in long distance runners. The disc height that they lose during the marathon, they actually regain that back within about 2 days, something like that. So like the human body is incredibly resilient and it'll adapt to anything that you give it to. You just have to actually try. And you can't jump the gun either, because if you go past your physiological maximum of what it is at that point in time, yeah, you're going to become friends with me and a surgeon. That's true. But if you give it time and you're patient, you kind of leave that ego at the door, you're going to do awesome.
That's the problem is everybody wants everything like right now. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, oh, I want immediate change.
Instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's just the world we live in now.
Yeah. That's probably the hardest part of rehab is keeping people interested in it. Like, it's going to take time. Like, this is not a pill. If you do things really well, you'll see some good resolution pretty fast. But if you want it to stick around, that's several months of work. Like, it's not just going to stay away because you had a month or two of physical therapy. Like, it's going to take some time to recondition your body to do what you want it to do reliably without a flare-up coming back. Because it will.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
will flare up.
I want to kind of switch our topic up here real quick because we're kind of getting close to the end.
Sure.
You're a mom, and what's it like, having 2 kids and running this kind of business?
Yeah. I mean, time management, it's a struggle, honestly. But, there's a lot of days that I get home and I know that I still have like at least 12 other things that I wanted to get done that, just don't get done that day. But, it takes a lot in me to put down the phone, put away the laptop, and then kind of zone in on family time sometimes, just because it's a passion project, right? So whenever you really love what you do, you kind of want to do it all the time, for one. And two, a lot of my patients are really funny. So, if you text those people, you're bound to giggle at it here and there and want to send back a GIF or whatever it is. It's like, one of my patients today, he told me that like him and his wife were sick and stuff like that, and he had to cancel. And I was like, hey, no worries. Feel better. Get your wife feeling better too. Well, I'll see you whenever you feel better, right? And he was like, hey, thanks. There was a lot of throw up last night. So I sent him just confetti. I was like, all right, you have fun.
Yeah.
So like, it's hard not to do those things on off hours. But it's, you got to. You have to put those things away. It's not just good for you, but it's also good for your family, your kids. my kids deserve to have their mom fully present whenever I'm around, just like how my patients have me fully present when they're around me, right? Um, so switching sometimes can be difficult. And at their age right now, I think it's especially difficult because, in case you hadn't noticed, I'm not like a super excitable person. So, it's a bit deadpan. A lot of times I have a very dry sense of humor, and they're not quite old enough to understand it yet. Um, they're getting there. They're starting to pick up on a couple things here and there. Especially my son. He's sassy, but um, but being able to just kind of disconnect and actually be with them is pretty important. They deserve that.
Totally.
So
Yeah, I mean, we struggle with it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's especially with our jobs where, it's real estate kind of doesn't really ever sleep. There's
Yeah.
always people. I mean, I kind of have to shut it off every night at some point. Like every night I have my phone set to do not disturb at a certain time. And I'm like, okay,
we're not doing that.
I'm not picking this up because it's like I'll get messages and I'll be like, I can just respond to that real quick. But then I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
opening up a whole can of worms. I
Mhm.
was like, I
Yep.
know that this is going to turn into the next 45 minutes of me responding to this person so it's like, it can wait till the morning. Like it can wait until I drop the kids off in the morning. Now I take my dad hat off, put my work hat on,
Right.
and, but sometimes it's hard because like you said, if you love what you do, like, which
Mhm.
I do, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like I'm doing something I love and
Right.
something I'm pretty
Exactly.
good at, and it's just a constant. But yeah, it's so important being present with your kids. That's something I've really really worked on this past year.
Yeah.
And I've definitely made improvements, but there are days that go by where I definitely don't do as well as I should have.
Yeah.
But I think I'm better than I was last year at it. So
Yeah. I think it's a thing that probably weighs heavy on anybody that either has a job that they're passionate about or owns a business. It's just, and when it's both of those things, it's extra hard. So,
for sure,
it's because both of them are going to be your passion project. Like, you want the business to do well, you want it to actually fuel your life. But also you really enjoy doing the work that's inside of the business. Um, I don't know. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I kind of suck at it right now, but
we're all works in progress,
Yeah.
right?
we'll get there, right? Yeah, exactly. As long as you keep trying and you don't judge the day before and you just keep on working on what you can do. Past is the past. Move on. Do better the next time as best as you can. You just whittle away at it until you're great at it.
Yeah.
Right?
great.
One of the things that Zach and I love about this is that if something were to happen to us, like our kids have hundreds of hours that they can go back and look at us and see, like, oh, hey, this is what Dad was like,
Yeah.
and the messages that we can leave them on here. Now, say your kids watch this in 10 or 15 years, what's a message that you would want to leave with them?
Be persistent. Like, do something that you know that you're going to love, that you can get paid for sure. Like, don't be a starving artist or anything. Enjoy your art, but do something that you can enjoy, do something that you can get paid for, and do your best. And if you get lucky enough to get put in some sort of leadership position, be humble about it. You're not always going to be the toughest person in the room. You're not always going to be the smartest person in the room. And even if you are, it doesn't matter. Like, you're always going to have somebody that can teach you something, even if they're in a position that is technically inferior, right? I think, you talk about fatherhood. I think that's one thing that my dad taught me growing up. He's a physician. And if you know anything about physicians, is sometimes they can be a bit arrogant, right? So I've met plenty of physicians who are like, shut up, I'm the doctor, we just do what I say. And my dad was not that person at all. He was just the most unassuming person that you could ever meet. He's a retired colonel of the Air Force. And, when I say physician, retired colonel, people have this image in their brain of who is he? How does he react to things? But my dad is like super humble. He is the smartest person in the room, probably. But you don't really know it until you start talking to him. And even then, when you talk to him, you don't feel like he's talking down to you. He's just trying to understand you. He's trying to be curious. And he's trying to learn something from you. So like he would talk about, nurses and CNAs and therapists. And he's like, oh yeah, I learn all kinds of stuff from them. Like they help me out all the time. Like the receptionists are great people. Be friends with your receptionist. And like that has saved me more times than I can count in my career. Like I think I've purposefully made friends with all of my receptionists that I've ever worked with. So, if you're going to be a leader, which as a therapist, you are a leader. You're a leader of your techs, you're a leader of your assistants, you're a leader of your patients. If you're going to be a leader, you have to lead from the front and you have to lead with a lot of humility. And I think my dad showed that to me, day in and day out with the way that he just presented himself at work and at home, as a teacher at church, all of the things. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, Zoe, this has been great having you in here.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed this conversation with you. Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
I don't know. I mean, guys, if you want PT that doesn't suck, I'm around.
Yeah.
It's pretty good,
Yeah.
Get you going.
Yeah. How do they find you?
I am located in Fenton at Fit Gym. So it's right inside there. You can check me out on Instagram. It's a Adapt Performance Physio. A little bit on YouTube, a little bit on Facebook. If you want to email me, it's zoe@adaptpp.com. And phone number 314-266-9330.
Awesome.
I'm available. Text it. Get it going.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we end the show the same way every time. So before we get you out of here, Pat's got one last question.
I would play a little game called the Tombstone Game. Here lies Zoe. What's it say on your tombstone?
She was pretty cool sometimes, I guess.
right with the deadpan humor. I love it.
It's all right.
It's all right. I guess.
She did some stuff. Took a few names.
That's
Perfect.
perfect. Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, thank you again for coming
Yes.
in, and thanks to everybody at home that watched or listened to this episode. If you could hit that subscribe button for us, that would help us out a ton. Pat and I are trying to get to 500 subscribers on YouTube before the end of 2025. So help us out. Hit that subscribe button. Share this episode with a friend. Comment what you thought below, and we will see you next time.